Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Everybody thank Jerry, because if Jerry hadn't said it's showtime, I'd still be yakking probably.
Do you have to hit play live?
Yeah, we're live.
No, do you have to hit that?
Yes, I do have to hit that to go live. It doesn't change what we see, but it does change what they can see. So, but good morning, everybody.
Well, they do
hey,
Allie, watch.
Allie, go back and watch last week's show if you haven't seen it already. I put your video on there. You weren't here, I don't think, when I did that, but it did make it on the show.
And watch Dennis's face the first 30 seconds.
I was a tad bit confused.
Oh, that was funny every time I think about it. Because I didn't see it until last night. I didn't notice it when we did the show, but watching the replay was pretty funny.
Yeah, you said you almost spit your beer out.
Steve.
I did.
What?
Who's here?
Who's here? We're here.
We're here. Well, give us a rundown, man.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, let's see. Chat's going by pretty fast. We got a lot of Johns in here again. So let's see. We got John, Grandpa Rails. Good morning, John Tanzillo. Steve Anderson. Gail's here. Rob T-Man. Uncle Wilmer. Good morning, Uncle Wilmer. Thomas Moore. Lynn McCurdy. My buddy Chris Brew. My buddy Bernard C. Ray Bertelson. Let's see. Jack's in here. Good morning, Jack. Allison. Good morning, Allie. Let's see. We got Tammy and Ray with Mom and Son Rail fans. Good morning. Let's see. Who else did I miss? Okay. Who did I miss? Nobody?
I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, well,
Anyway.
For a change.
And Heath popped in. Ooh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Hmm?
Oh, he's hosting an ops session.
Woo.
Oh, well, heck, Heath, we'd known you were doing that. We'd have had you on as a guest, and you could have set a camera up and we could just watch.
Yeah. Why don't we get the, let's see, the fireworks to go? Boom.
is it his ops
Probably
session,
not now.
I presume? So he's
Still
actually
doing
got
it. Boom.
trains going? That's cool.
I'm guessing. I don't know. That's what he said. He's hosting an ops session.
He sent you photos, Dennis, he said, so.
Huh.
Well, there you go.
We were having fun with my video this morning. I did some thumbs up and got fireworks and
Several times.
It looked really cool.
Yeah, that was after the balloons.
After the balloons.
I don't know what's causing that. Everybody knows what causes that. I don't know if it's happened. I guess it's happened during the show before.
Well,
I
I
know
think
it
it's
happens
his,
before the show all the time.
his
But
version of his phone is what I think.
I got it to do
Yeah.
3 times in a row. I did a thumbs up thing and showed fireworks behind me. It was,
Send him a link if you want.
it's crazy.
Okay.
I've had too much coffee this morning. Sorry.
There you go. Anyway, so what's news, guys?
I don't know. I'm looking to see what chat's saying.
Well, I got some of the plastered mountain in the scene break on the upper level painted. It's not finished. It's just a base coat, but I got to let stuff dry before I can come back in. And I played golf the last 2 days, so I haven't done anything up there the last 2 days. But I will try and get up there today and do some more stuff. But I will have an update coming out here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I'll get enough done to do something, make it interesting. Trying to get all my structures kind of placed. I have another one on order. I was going to use one little building for a firehouse, but I found one, Campbell's kit. Somebody had a Campbell's kit that's the old false front firehouse, which will look really good up there.
I think I've got that kit.
Yeah, I finally found one. Well, there were several of them, but some people wanted like lots of gold for it.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's
Pretty
crazy.
simple. Just the one I'm thinking of. It's a pretty simple, just 4 walls and a roof kit.
The caveat is they're not in business anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I
In
guess.
fact, on Facebook, I think it was in Budget Model Railroading Group, I happened to see a post that somebody was looking for the plans to a kit he bought at a train show, but didn't have plans in it. He didn't know that until after the fact. But I happened to had saved those plans. And I said, I've got some that you can have, but I haven't heard from him, so I don't know. Uh-oh.
Oh, there's actually Heath with people.
Yeah.
Morning, Heath.
So Andy Step, which is ST Pandy Projects, and we got Joey from Late Night Model Railroad, also
Joey,
Late Night Hobbies, hanging out.
Wow.
Welcome, guys.
So Andy's up north and Joey's down south, and
You're kind of in the middle.
I'm kind of I don't know what I'm doing.
You're actually running.
You're
trains?
hosting.
I'm
We've known
hosting.
that for a while, Heath.
That looks good.
That does look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been over to your channel in ages. I need to get over there and take a look
Boy,
at
me
what you're
neither.
doing.
Holy moly.
Because last time I was over there, you had a little bitty oval or something on your desk, and that was all you had.
Oh yeah, he's way past that.
No.
If you didn't know, Claude, Jerry's the one that cut up all of his.
Yeah, I knew that, and I actually did go over here not too long ago and saw him. He was putting this bench work up for it. So
Now is that the team track we're looking at right now?
So Joey just backed into the freight terminal. The team
Freight
track
terminal.
is where the two cars are, just to the right of it. So
Yeah.
the freight terminal's on the left, the team track's to the right.
Okay, gotcha.
Ah, it's nice to see it all like running.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
So
Yeah.
Heath, I see your paint on there by the tracks. Is that rattle can paint?
So that is this was the base, this
Yeah.
camouflage paint. And then just to add a little bit of zhuzh to it, I have this AK rust base coat and this Humbrol dark brown, and I kind of just randomly gave little splotches around just to give it a little bit of make it not as even.
What did you do for the rail? Did you tape it or did you just wipe it?
I just cleaned it off afterwards.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
What'd you end up using?
What's that stuff called? Mineral spirits.
Mineral spirits. Mineral spirits on like on what?
A little rag or something?
The
Probably.
rag, or did you? So you used your hand and
No.
Kimitech delicate task wipes.
Allie
Never-
wants to know if
Where'd
you're
you
sure.
find them at? Where do you find this stuff?
I just got these on Amazon.
You could also use just a piece of pine wood.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's
So I
soft
u-
enough to.
I used
Not taking
wood,
the
but
track,
they
but-
just got so gunked up with paint
it's just
Yeah.
so much.
because there was so much of it. So
Yeah,
this is
Yeah, you gotta clean it up.
they get yucky pretty
Oh,
quick.
You can
So
just
that's what I do is because I use a rattle can too on mine, and I just do like a 2-foot section, and then come right back and wipe it off with a paper towel on a piece of wood,
Yeah.
and that gets 90% of it, and then I'll come back and clean it up with a bright boy, and then I'll burnish it with a washer to get the scratches out.
that's
And that's pretty simple, and it goes pretty fast because you clean it as you're going. But I only do the one color. I don't bother with all the other stuff because I found once it gets ballast, you don't see 90% of that anyway.
well. So this is kind of the base color. I'm gonna probably do some weathering on the ties, and then put the ballast down. And then I mean you won't see a lot of this base color.
Yeah.
But part of it is my intention is to invite people over, let them operate the layout, see where the problems are, and fix some of the problems if there are problems before I do any ballasting.
Yeah. That's
Have
not a bad idea.
Have you come across any problems?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
not too many major ones yet, but like I had Andy over here last week, and I
Yeah.
didn't have anything labeled at the time. You can see now I've got labels everywhere, but none of these were here. And I don't know why, but without labels and without any information, Andy couldn't figure out where the industries were. I kept saying, just read my mind. I didn't understand what the problem was. So
Yeah.
apparently having the industries labeled is a huge help.
Yeah.
Have you found anything that, as far as operations go, that you're like, this really didn't work the way I thought it was going to? And or did you find anything that was like, boy, I nailed this. I am so glad I did that.
So I guess I haven't really found anything quite yet that hasn't worked the way I think, but like, I'm impressed that there are 3 of us in this room right now, and there's still plenty of space.
Yeah, but in all fairness, you're all small. Okay.
Yeah, and Lynn McCurdy says he thinks this is the first time he's been able to see out your window and it's not dark and there's trees in Manhattan.
Yes, there are trees right outside my window.
Wow.
So the thing that happened last week that was kind of interesting was I let Andy run 2 trains without anybody else on the layout, and then I ran a train at the same time Andy was running a train, and we both ended up working the industry that Andy is at right now. He worked the north track, and I was working the south track, and we were both able to work our sides of that area standing next to each other with very little sort of problem, which I never thought would have been possible. I didn't think it would ever have been possible to have 2 people in that area at once.
I think you could probably have another person in there.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Allie has a well, not a question, but she said that she noticed the wagons, your freight cars have labels on them.
Yeah, so as people might know, I'm getting up there in age myself. Not that far, but I am getting up there. But yeah, it makes it just so much easier to read the. Let's not that one. Try this one, maybe. Not that one either. Let's try this one. I can't find which camera. There we go. It makes it much easier to read the reporting marks on the cars. So when you're switching, you don't need to read the numbers and everything on the sides of the cars.
Yeah.
You can see it pretty easily on top.
Have you discovered any maybe house rules or something that were unanticipated, or is everything kind of working out the way you thought it would?
No, I mean, like, Joe and I discussed no eating cauliflower the night before a session.
Yeah.
You would have told me that rule.
Yeah.
To publicize these rules.
No, at this point, I'm kind of just letting them do whatever it is they're going to do to see what needs to be stated and what doesn't need to be stated. So, so Andy is using the UW250 and Joey's using the UW100. Andy started off using the Proto Throttle, but the only locomotive I have the Proto Throttle set up on is this little 4-axle guy. And I need to... He wasn't running very smoothly by himself. So yesterday, John Farrington got on a call with me, and we set up that locomotive on the Proto Throttle. So I just need to go through and set up more locos, and there's still a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
Was it like a connectivity issue, or is it just the decoder not working the way you wanted it to?
It's a 4-axle switcher, I think, is really what it was. So it just jitters. I think just because of the pickups. It could be It could be dirty wheels, but I tried cleaning the wheels and there wasn't a bunch of gunk that came off. So I'll have to look into it.
Maybe it's just not a good runner.
I don't know.
I know
I don't know.
in my experience with N-Scale, that's what I found out is that all of the 6 axles ran considerably better than the 4 axles, just because they had more connectivity to the rails and a little bit heavier too.
Yes. Yeah. Which is why everything on the layout is going to be at some point consisted together. So there will be 2 switchers. So I'll get that extra, connectivity and hopefully be able to avoid a lot of those problems.
And if I remember right, last was, I guess, Wednesdays when you air now, I think you said you still hadn't hooked up your frogs yet. Are your frogs still dead?
The frogs on this side of the layout are still dead, but the frogs on that side are connected. I have not tried running the 4-axle on that side of the layout yet. We were just trying to run it over here, so it might run better. Where the
was
frogs
the
are
issue
powered
on
up.
top of the turnouts, or did it even have it on just regular rail?
It was a little bit of everywhere. A little. It also, that locomotive hasn't been run in a long time, but it was running pretty smoothly on the programming track. So I don't know. It might just. Who knows?
Need to run.
Yeah. Might just need to stretch its legs.
Well, Lynn McCurdy says, yeah, Keith has dead frogs on his layout.
Yeah.
Remind me, when did you put your first chunk of plywood up on this particular layout? Do you remember when that was? How long it's been?
Sometime near the beginning of August. I think it was like August 10th or something. Jerry came up here. I don't remember actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think it had been that long ago. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking it was around Christmas time, but
Hey, Wilmer
I guess
wants to
I'm
know what are the dimensions of your layout, Heath?
So the room itself is 9 feet by 8 feet.
It looks
So
a
it's
lot.
interesting. So you see, it's running pretty well now.
yeah.
That's because we're watching.
Yeah. Well, I would think because you're watching, it wouldn't run well.
Yeah, but you were complaining about it not working. So, it's like the dentist. It always is opposite of what's happening.
Oh, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Who makes that locomotive?
It's an Atlas.
Atlas. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be running pretty smooth.
Yeah. Of course, the faster you go, they always work better going fast.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that could be too, is that, Andy was trying to, stop forward, back, forth, kind of thing. So
What's the prototype? Is it a switcher?
Yeah, it's a little.
Maybe an S2. Yeah, it's an Alco S2.
Okay. Yeah. Not a lot of weight.
So not a lot of weight, not a lot of surface area.
Can you add some weight to that?
There's not a lot of room inside an N-scale switcher.
Yeah.
How do you get by with the environmental rules in New York running an Alco on your layout?
I've had a couple visits from the authorities. I'm grandfathered in because of the age of it, but
Okay.
I think I've got that very same locomotive. Is it a gold?
It's
series?
the Main Central 301.
But is it?
Gold
Atlas
series.
Gold?
Yeah, it's the Gold series with the ESU sound decoder.
I think I've got that very same one in Pensy, and mine ran really well. I never had any problems with it.
Yeah, it's running pretty well now.
I think you just need to run it. That's all.
Probably.
Well, you got the track nice and clean for your op session, so.
Yeah,
That could be it, too.
the 6 axle. So I ran the 6 axles before Andy came over last week, and they ran really, really well.
They ran well last week.
The 6-axles, the 6-axles are running incredibly well. The 6-axles are Katos.
Yeah.
I did see the Closet Branch was saying who's here. So for anyone just coming in, that's Andy Estep, who's Estate Pandy Projects on YouTube. And then this is Joey, who's Late Night Hobbies, or Late Night Model Railroad on YouTube.
Hey, Jerry, find the links to their channel and put them in the chat.
Whose channels?
Andy at Estate Pandy and Joey at Late Night.
Since you do that so well.
Thanks.
Steve Anderson wants to know what are the flashing red lights outside? Is that the fire department, New York, on standby?
Exactly. EMS, fire department, the works.
What
Yeah,
floor?
now it's jittering a little bit.
Steve Childers wants to know if anyone ever just used a dummy connected to the power unit with a keep alive and a dummy. That would work for N-scale, I would think.
Yeah, so one of the layouts that I operate on in this area, what the person has done is they have decoders in both locomotives, but then they run wires between the two locomotives for the pickups. So instead of just having one set of trucks on one locomotive, you pick up all of the trucks on all of the on all of them. At this point with DCC, I don't think I would run a dummy locomotive. There's no point necessarily. I would just get another powered locomotive. Is what I would do.
Good job, Dennis.
Bernard wants to know if the fire department had a heads up that you were going to run trains.
I called them before the session.
It's a good move. John 2618 wants to know if you've done the auto back EMF.
I have not adjusted that at all.
I haven't heard of auto. What does he mean by auto back EMF?
There is a way to set the CVs in the locomotive by running the locomotive in a mode that basically takes the feedback from the motor and adjusts
it
the back EMF automatically.
How it's running now? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've only ever done it manually. I've only ever done it manually.
I mean, you could probably do that too.
That's all the fun stuff I haven't started yet is all programming on decoders.
I'm trying to think of the name of the channel. He's got a pretty good video series on how to do it.
Do the auto back EMF thing?
No, he does it. He explains how to do it by, using the individual CVs.
Honestly, I'm just doing whatever John 2618 says to do. That's what I'm doing.
Easier, right?
Dennis, who on your steam locomotives, or at least the one I operated on the Time Saver, did you program that engine, or did you have somebody do it?
Which one did you run? The 482?
I don't remember. I don't think it wasn't a Blackstone. I think it was one of your brass engines.
Both the 482 and the 461 were done by oh my gosh, I'm failing to come up with names today. Mark Goofrey. He's up in New York. All Brass Back Shop is the name of his.
I'm familiar with that, with the back shop.
Yeah, he did both of those. Now, I had to go in and make some adjustments to the 461. So it's not the exact same way that he did it, because it had some really weird quirks. I called him on the phone. He was real good. He kind of guided me through some of it over the phone. And that's kind of where my knowledge base is on messing with it, talking to him. And then the other channel that, man, it's bugging me. I can't think of the name of that channel.
Well, I just remember liking operating it. It ran really well. And then you got all the secondary sounds like brake squeal and cylinder cock exhaust and all that kind of stuff. Just when you turn the throttle down and stop the locomotive, all that was kind of automatic, which is nice. I'd like to have that on mine when I get to that point.
I love the ability to actually make use of the brake too. I prefer one button operation. If you're like switching and stuff like that, if you can get it at the speed that you would actually be doing things at, it's just a matter of hitting the brake, hitting the reverser, and then taking the brake off. I think that's a really nice way to operate.
Yeah.
It's Greg at Fish Plate Films.
Yep.
He's got several how to mess with your decoder videos that are pretty good.
Heath, who did your background buildings?
So the background building that is on the screen right now is just me printing a picture out and gluing it to some foam core.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, that's just a standby as well. That's actually not gonna go there.
Are you actually going to have printed backdrops?
Yes. So on this side of the layout, side of the layout, you can see there's a printed backdrop. I'll eventually have one on the other side as well. I just haven't quite gotten that far yet. This side is a little easier because it's a little
open,
a little simpler of a.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is the north side of the layout. This is miles and miles and miles of track here. And then this is the south side of the layout. But because of all the industries and stuff down here, the backdrop's going to be a little harder to lay out, to figure out.
So are you using CarCard right now, or are you using JMRI Ops?
I'm not. If you notice, there's two iPad. They're actually Amazon Fire tablets right here. And I'm just using JMRI Ops Pro and feeding them to the tablets via the web server, the JMRI web server. So they're doing all the paperwork digitally.
And how do you like that?
How do you guys like it?
I like it a lot, except for
Not bad.
backing into it. Yes. I like it a lot. It makes it very easy to keep track and I can plan moves ahead. And has this helpful check off, so I can, as I go, I can check things off, so nothing gets missed.
Now, have you also operated CarCard? So you have So what are your thoughts about the two, one versus the other?
I find with CarCard that I have very full hands on juggling the cards, especially if I'm switching en route. So having it all in one place and not having to sort through and making sure that everything is there in the right place, I find it very helpful to have it run this way instead of a big stack.
Interesting. Because I've thought that I would like to have, because here's my thoughts on the JMRI. The computer wants the cars to be in a certain location in the train. And unless they're already, like say in the yard, for instance, if they're not already in that location, in the order of the train, I forget there's a term for that, but standing
blocking the train.
Yes, standing order or blocked as per the computer. The computer always expects the first car, you know, at the top of the list to be behind the engine, yada, yada, yada. But then it seems like as you operate, it never works out that way when you actually go to operate. They need to be somewhere else in the train.
So there are settings in if you go into like the trains window and then go to build manifest, or go to the tools window for build manifest. It gives you options to do first in, first out, or last in, first out. So
Right.
you can adjust that stuff.
Right, but what I'm saying is like if you return to that yard, and even if it's a LIFO or whatever, if the train doesn't happen to be in the correct order when you park it, then what the computer says, because in my experience, how you pick them up out on the road is not necessarily how the computer expects you to pick them up, so that when you come back to the yard and you park it in there, it's not actually in the standing order
I see what you're saying.
that you picked everything up at.
I mean, the way I'm planning to do it, well, the way we're doing it right now is that, like, when Andy picked up this train in the North Yard, he went through and blocked his train. So he sorted the cars, put them all on this
050
track
or
as
with the car?
needed, and then pulled the train out.
Did you 050 or did you actually do it with the locomotive?
No, I just did it with a locomotive.
Yeah. Well, what
There's
I've been
enough-
doing is
There's enough empty
during the
track.
operating session, I ignore the train order that the computer tells me as I operate. Then when I park the train and I'm finished with the operating session, I will go back in and block the cars as the computer told me they should have been after the fact. That's how I've been dealing with that.
The only tracks, in my experience, the only tracks that care about the order are ones that you have set up as staging tracks. None of the other tracks care what the order is. Because the staging, whatever you pull into the staging track, it comes out exactly the same.
Yeah.
So if you pull the train in and it's in XYZ order, JMRI expects it to come back out in XYZ order. But that's only for staging tracks. For any yard track or industry track, it doesn't care what the order is.
Yeah, I get that. I guess maybe I'm not doing a good job of explaining what I mean. So you pull out of your staging yard and you need to pick up a train or a car or two cars at your first location. The computer will always put the cars that you pick up, as I recall, at the end of your train.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense at the location
Yeah.
pick them up at the end of your train, so that when you finish your operating session, the computer will always see those cars at the end of your train when you're like, nobody would have ever picked them up that way because it would have been more work. So that when you park the train, now your standing order is completely off from what the computer says it is, which then can create a little more work for you the next time you pull it out.
Well, and in my mind, it's that little bit of work is, I mean, that's just what you have to do, right? I mean, that's part of operations is blocking the trains.
Yeah, you can either do it for fun with the locomotive, or if you're just trying to save time before the next operating session, you do it with the 050.
Yeah. I've been letting the operators do it.
Yeah.
So you guys running into each other?
No, it's just I had a plan and I realized it was a dumb plan, and now I'm.
Yeah. So you need to work off the main line,
Yes.
so that he can work off the yard track.
You're right.
Wow. Heath being assertive.
Hey, you got to keep your engineers in line. Or I guess technically that's your conductors would be figuring that out, but yeah. Well, and this is part of it too. Like I intentionally set up these trains the way I did because I had a feeling this would happen to see how it would work out. Right? Like I'm trying to see what the collisions on the layout are. The bathroom's down the hall. Do you need to go to the bathroom, Steve?
Now, there was a question of whether or not you use the window there, and somebody said, well, there's miles of track to go over if you're going to do that.
Yeah, there's a curtain you pull in front of the window.
It's a little privacy space.
Hang out a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm using the JMRI web server both for all of the tablets that control the switches on the layout are all JMRI, and the switch lists are all on tablets too for JMRI, which just makes it very easy to adjust something if something goes wrong.
We got a bird somewhere. I think that's a Steve's. He tends to get birds around there.
Yeah, I mean,
Looks really good.
Or are you done?
I'm done.
Oh, you're done. Here. There's another train for you. If you refresh the page, you get another train that pops up. There you go. Local turn
Cool.
2. Yep.
Starts Riverside Yard.
Yep. So you're doing the opposite route that Andy is. So Andy started north, went south, and then it's going north again. You're starting south, going north, and then going south again.
Starting Riverside. Oh, dropping off here. Picking up, coming back.
Yeah, so you're basically gonna head north, and you'll work this industry first, then you'll work the south side of Manhattanville because it's the ground point switch. You'll work this up here
Mark, it is too complicated for you, just so you know.
on his, but then you'll turn yourself around and head south, and then you'll work the trailing point when heading south, and then come back to the yard.
Bernard said, and all joking aside, Heath, your layout is really impressive on what you've accomplished.
Thank you, Bernard. Bernard, you are welcome to visit. Steve Anderson, on the other hand.
Yeah, you're right on that, Heath. I've met Steve in person, so you're right on there.
Steve's actually been here.
Oh, has he? That's cool. Yeah, he's,
Are you using a
he's a
fast
character,
clock?
that's for sure.
Am I using
Are you
what,
using
Dennis?
A fast clock? Are you using a fast clock yet, or?
No, I'm not. My intention for the fast clock is just for like lighting changes and to see the passage of time. I'm not intending to actually do like timetable and train order type stuff. It's going to be more like CTC dispatcher controlled than time clock controlled.
Immediately to your right, there looks like a structure there that I haven't seen before. What is that? A sanding tower? What?
Immediately to my right. So we're talking this here.
It's very, very bottom of the screen. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
This is an Outland Models yard tower that I got off of eBay for cheap.
Okay.
And I just sat it here because I just sat it there. This is going to be this building here is going to be if you Google search IRT Powerhouse, that's what this is going to be here. The IRT Powerhouse was not rail served, but it is in the area. So I'm going to use it as like a terminal storage building. So there'll be 2 tracks inside, 1 track outside, and it'll just be a general LCL freight house.
Cool.
What's LCL?
Less than carload.
Oh, okay.
So
What's
kind of like
IRT stand for?
Interborough Rapid Transit. It's the subway. So the 1904 powerhouse was the powerhouse for the one train subway, which it wasn't the first subway, but it was the first.
It was.
It was the first subway. So it was the first subway in New York City.
Boy, you have a lot of standing sticks there.
Yeah,
Is that what those are?
yeah. They got pulled out of the boxes. I've actually, there's some stuff sitting in the hallway right now just to make a little more room in here. So I was just sorting through some stuff, and that's just kind of where they ended up. This is the car float is not in yet, so the car float will be here. So I have there are 2 areas of the layout that are interchanges. So these 3 tracks up here in the back, these 3 are an interchange to a far off land, and then the car float is an interchange to a far off land.
So is your car float? Go ahead.
So cars will come onto and off of the layout from the car float and from this staging area,
Is your car float going to be water?
as opposed to
I don't know. It's going to be a water scene, right?
yes, it'll be a water scene. Yeah.
Are you going to build a car float? An actual car float?
Roy Eltham has 3D printed one based off of a design that's online. So I have the pieces here. I just haven't put it together yet.
Okay.
We're live on the stream. We're streaming if you want to come talk to everybody.
Yeah, I don't. I just want to come and say hi and bye. Hi.
Well, come say hello to
My
everybody.
name's Melinda. Hi, Joey. Nice to meet you. We've met many times. Nice to see you again and again.
See, there's.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
See, she does actually exist.
I
Wow. So all this time I thought she was a make-believe
Where
friend.
are all the cameras.
This camera is this one there,
Nice.
but there's cameras all around.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah, that's this map in digital form.
It's amazing. What are you guys up to? This looks really nice.
Wow.
You can tell how often she comes down here.
My wife's
She's liking it. She might start operating.
There you go.
We have our independent hobbies.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
cool.
it's really, really nice. That looks pretty too.
Guess who made that?
Oh,
This gentleman.
that looks really nice. Wow. I'm meeting a friend. I wish I could stay. This is really pretty.
Bye. Say
I'd
goodbye.
like to get her to come look at my layout. I'd like to have.
Bye.
Oh, that's pretty.
Bye.
It's right here. It's right here. It's right there.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you guys. Wow, nice meeting you. Maybe I'll see you later, huh? Okay.
Bye.
Uh,
You're in trouble now. He's just going to want to come down all the time.
yeah. Yeah, your safe room is gone now.
She just realized how cool that spot is.
I'm just
I know,
wondering what
She's like,
pointing
why
at on
don't you always spend time up here with us? And I'm like, well, I got my toys.
There you go.
But we are very different. We have a very different sense of what clutter is. So, like, to me, because this is my clutter, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But it can be a lot. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. She's cluttered.
It's a hobby store.
Yeah, exactly. It's my own personal hobby store.
Yeah. It's all good.
But yeah, I mean, people have been. Some people have asked, like, yeah, I mean, so far, if anybody doesn't know, I built a Riverside Transfer 1.0 version. It was terrible. It just didn't work at all. And I had some opportunities to operate on some other people's layouts, which generated this design. And so far, this design has been working a lot better than the other design. So yeah.
Just out of curiosity, you say the 1.0 didn't hardly work at all. What are your reflection as to the reasons why?
Well, 1.0 probably had the same amount of track, just in half the space. And I think I was just trying to do too much in that space.
You had that much track in that space?
I had a lot of track in that space. It wasn't quite this much, but it was a lot.
I think that's a common mistake modelers make when they first get into it. They want as much track as possible, and they don't really have the space to put anything else in there. I mean, I've run into that on my own layout where I say, "Oh, I wish I'd have left a little more space here for some structure."
Yeah,
I haven't done it, and I may go back and change some of that. May not, but I think that's a very common mistake people make.
I think it's especially easy if you were using a CAD to create your track plan, because you can do so much and not have the real world evaluation of the spatial elements involved with it.
I mean, I had tracks way too close to the front edge of the layout and way too close to the backdrop. To the point, like, in my yard tracks, like, NMRA standards for these yard tracks would have them significantly closer together to the point where you couldn't get your fingers in, at all. So, yeah, I could have put, 6 yard tracks in place of 4, but because I want this for operations, this just gives that little extra space that I think makes it much better to operate on. And when I designed Riverside Transfer 1.0, it was right after I had given up the idea of needing a continuously running layout. So I was still struggling with that part of it as well.
I think what we all try to do is you have an X amount of space and you just fill it as much as you can fill it. And that's just not how it is. But if that's how you want it to be, that's fine.
I mean, there are some benefits to just having, like 6 loops of track that, with switches between them, and you can just run your trains. And that's, I would call that like a rail fanning layout.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fun to that, just seeing your trains run at this point in my.
For sure.
I mean, I have that up there, right? I have that up on the shelf up there. So I like a little bit of all of it.
And you're fortunate that you have the space to do it.
Yeah. I think the closet branch was asking me, this is a commercial space in the building that I live. So I rent this space, but our apartment is on another floor in the building.
Well, it's good to see your layout is up and where you started months and months ago and how much you've progressed now.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was cool that Jerry was here in the beginning.
Yeah.
Jerry, you got to come back now and run some trains.
Yeah, I got to come back up. Yeah, definitely soon. But it excites me to see where you were and where you are.
Yeah, you saw it when this room was pretty much completely empty.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One of the few. So anybody else want to talk about their progress now that I've taken up the whole time? Sorry.
No,
we don't have any progress.
We didn't have a guest, so we had just prattled on about nothing probably for 45 minutes. So this has been good.
Like normal.
Yeah, and we have 43 people in chat too at one point. So yeah.
Yeah, but this has been this has been a great outlet for creativity and just kind of, having something to do after work. And
But the good thing is, like, you still got a long way to go. So you have tons and tons more
oh,
creativity to put into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's
Well,
a huge amount of work still to do, even on the wiring, right? I mean, so yeah.
Well, Jerry, you know how far along mine is. And,
Right.
it in places it looks complete, but
Yeah,
there's
it's not.
still tons and tons of work to do.
Right. Yeah.
There
And
always is.
Steve Anderson says you only have to make 3 trees too.
Yeah. I am planning, it's funny you said, I am planning this area right here, this sort of open strip. I want to make some sort of view block here between. So this yard is sort of local, but these are the staging tracks that are like way up north. So I want to I'm thinking of putting trees in here to give sort of a view block between the classification yard versus the staging yard.
That's typically what you would see in a yard scene somewhere.
Yeah.
See some type of block, fencing, trees,
Yep.
thing. So it's cool, and you can still incorporate it into that small space.
And I made all my trees already. They're all right there.
Yeah.
They're
Let's
just
do
printed
about
on the
5
backdrop.
What is your next goal? What are you going to work on between now and your next operating session?
So I swapped some of the couplers on the Kato locomotives, but they're a little high, so I'm going to lower those down. I still need to set the turnout direction on these. I need to paint the fascia. I've done the valance. I need to paint the fascia. One of the things that I realized too is the cameras are in a terrible location. So one of the things I really want to do as well is move all of these cameras into better locations for streaming stuff.
I like
So
that.
that's going to be a big project.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
There's a couple.
Steve says it's good to see layouts working and working the way you envisioned it.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I need to I need to go through and start weighing all the cars and stuff like that. There's a lot of. I'm focusing on the operations based stuff right now.
I see in that one spot you are right now. You still need to lay track, right?
Yeah, this is the car float right here.
Oh, okay.
So it's just the 2 tracks into the car float.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now that I have these pieces from Roy that are printed out, I know the width of the track, so I can lay that now.
So what brand of track are you using?
It's all Pico. Pico code 55.
So how many tracks will be on the car float?
Two tracks, so I'll be able to fit 4 40-foot or 50-foot cars per track. Right. So 8 cars total. Cool. So that ties into the whole layout was designed around an 8-car train.
Right.
Cool.
Now, is your car float going to be self-powered, or are you going to have a barge tug move the car float?
So what the car float is going to end up being permanently attached to the dock, and I'm going to use the 050 crane to actually get cars on and off the car float. I operated on a small layout that actually Andy's operated on as well. Vince Lee has a Erie 28th Street. It is a 2-foot wide by 8-foot long HO scale prototypical layout of the Erie 28th Street yard. And what he does is he basically just has a bin that holds I think he has 12 cars on his float, I think. Because I think it's a 3-track. 16? So he has a bin that holds 16 cars, and he's got like 4 bins. So what you do in an op session is you pull the cars off the barge,
Put it in the next bin.
put the other cars on the barge. Then while you're switching out the freight house, he swaps the cars in the barge, and then you go and you switch out the next car float.
Mark Pruitt wants to know how long is an operating session typically?
Typically, I don't know. This is the second operation session I'm doing, so I think it's a little hard to say what typical is right now. We're about to hit an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We started at about 9:15 a.m. Eastern, and it's now 10:55. One thing about using JMRI Ops Pro is I can kind of, if we get to the end of the list, I can just start from the beginning again.
Is Andy really tall?
I'm 6'2".
Okay.
Not really tall.
Yeah, I'm not that tall.
My
Yeah.
son is 6'5".
I thought you not sorry, Joey. I thought you were sitting down. I don't mean to,
You've met me.
I know I've met you, so I know how tall you are, and I'm seeing you standing next to Andy, and I'm like, Andy must be like 10 feet.
And he's just really tall.
I'm really tall, and it helps to be
Andy's
wearing
closer to
painter stealth that I'm on.
Andy's closer to the camera, so things are closer than they appear, or whatever it is, bigger than they appear.
Yeah, that's it.
Mike at Deep Run wants to know if you got the car float kit when at Amherst.
No, so the car float kit that I'm using there's a guy named Anthony. I don't really know more about him, but he's got a whole bunch of 3D printable designs for free online. And these are prints from his car float design.
So you're not going to roll your cars onto your car float? You're going to use a crane to put them on?
My hand.
050.
I know, but that's how they used to do them. They used to pick them up and put them on with a crane?
So that's not. No, the cars will roll off the car float onto the layout.
Right.
But instead of swapping normally you'd load a car float, the car float would leave and another one would
Right,
in.
yes. No, I get it.
What I was originally going to do that, but the layouts that I've operated on that all have car floats, none of them actually move the car float. Because the problem is the second you go to try and move that car float, you dump the cars on the floor and stuff. So it was recommended to just leave the car floats permanent and just use.
Yeah, I get it.
I've got these bins.
Do a little make believe.
Yeah, it's all just make believe.
Yeah, and I've got these.
It's just a very small staging yard is really all it is.
Yeah.
Correct. That is exactly what it is. So I've got these bins. So each of these will just be full with a car float worth of cars.
Where'd you get those at?
That's cool.
A place called Amazon. I don't know. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
You find all these cool things. I don't know.
Feldher, Feldherr. They make them for model trains. They make them for what is that called? 40K, whatever the Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
They make them for a whole bunch of different, small little things. Keep your eye on Amazon, though. Sometimes they are overpriced on Amazon, and you have to wait. But yeah, they come in. You can't see, but I've got a whole bunch of them here as well. Roy Eltham, ask Roy Eltham to show you his storage for these. Roy's got a rack on his wall.
Oh, cool.
These all just slide into, and it's just really nice storage method for these. But this one already says Riverside Car Float on it because this is what I was going to use on version 1.0. But I'm going to do the same thing with this yard too. So this yard will have these boxes and the car float will have these boxes because I've got a couple too many boxcars, so I can't have them all on the layout at once.
So what's a ballpark price on one of those? You're talking about watching the price on them.
I don't remember. It was somewhere between 40 and 60, but I don't remember. There are a couple different versions. There are versions with like 7 rows, and it's done like short ways, and then there's some with 9 rows that are done long ways or something. So depending on the version, they're different. I don't know. I need to look up what the price is right now. I don't remember.
Rolling stock to actually make use of one of those. I think everything I have will always live on the layout.
Well, you got
that's if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our time, guys.
Yes, correct.
Heath, thanks a ton, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It was really cool to see that. And
you saved the show.
Yeah.
I think this show was less painful than the first time I was on, right?
Yeah, that's my fault.
Well, for some people, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
All righty, well, we better get out of here because we're over time.
See you, everybody.
Have a good rest of your weekend and a good week.
Hey, guys.
And Heath and Steve and Jerry and Dennis, thank you for being here too. And everybody have a very good Easter, and we will see you next week.
You guys
Thanks,
later.
guys.
Yep.